Hello friends, today I am here with another topic of the renal physiology, and today it's a glomerular filtration. Now you know that the primary function of kidney it is to remove the metabolic waste product by forming the urine. So that is the primary function is formation of the urine. Now the formation of urine includes the various steps, various basic processes. So out of that this glomerular filtration it is the first step in the formation of the urine that we have to discuss in detail today. So look at this flow chart that is showing the blood flow through the kidney that already we have discussed in the previous lecture. So blood flow through the renal artery and its branches. Okay. Finally, it will flow through the glomerulus. That is the portion of the nephron. Okay, where there will be a filtration of the blood. Okay. So the filtered blood will be poured into the renal tubules, and remaining blood it will leave the nephron via the efferent arterioles and through the renal vein ultimately. So now before going to the detail of today's topic, just have a brief look at the mechanism of formation of the urine. So urine formation, that is the primary function of kidney, includes the basic three processes, basic three steps, of which the first it is the glomerular filtration that we have to discuss today in detail. Okay. Second is the tubular reabsorption, and third major step of the urine formation it is the tubular secretion. Okay. So after these three steps, ultimately the urine will be formed and it will be excreted by the kidney. So the glomerular filtration, that is the filtration of the plasma through the glomerular membrane, and the filtrate will be poured into the renal tubules. Okay. Then out of that filtrate, maximum will be again taken up by the renal epithelial cell and it will given back to the blood. Okay. So most of will be reabsorbed, and with that at a certain level in the renal tubules there will be secretion of certain substance from the blood into the renal tubular lumen. Okay. So these three basic process includes the urine formation. So by this you can tell that the urine, ultimately the urine that is excreted by the kidney, it is a filtration minus reabsorption plus secretion. That means initially the plasma that will filtered into the tubules, out of that maximum will be again reabsorbed. It will be again given back to the blood, and certain substances are secreted into the lumen from the blood. So ultimately this will make a urine. So this figure shows these three basic steps. So this is the efferent arterioles that is making the glomerulus here. This is the efferent arteriole that is leaving the glomerulus. Okay, and here it is the renal tubules, including the initial portion that is the Bowman's capsule. So initially the plasma that is flowing through here, it will filtered through this glomerular membrane into the renal tubular lumen. Okay, so that filtrate will be reabsorbed again. So maximum of that filtrate it will be again go back to the blood via the process of the reabsorption. Okay, but at certain level there will be also secretion of certain substance from the blood vessels into the lumen. So ultimately the urine that is excreted it will be as a filtration minus reabsorption plus secretion. So this will make the urine excretion or the urine. So now coming to the today's topic, that is the glomerular filtration. That means the filtration of a plasma through the glomerular membrane. So this GF it means the process of ultrafiltration of a plasma from the glomerular capillary into the Bowman's space. Okay. So can you look at this. So this is the glomerular network that is present within the Bowman's capsule, and here is the Bowman's space, and here it will be the renal tubules. Okay. So the ultrafiltration of plasma, it is called as a plasma because whole of the blood it will not filter through here. Okay. Only the plasma portion will get filtered. Okay. Cellular portion of the blood, that means RBCs, WBCs, platelets, they are not allowed to filter through this. So only the plasma will be filtered from here to here. So similar another term that is known as a GFR. Okay, that is nothing but this glomerular filtration only. So R means rate here. Okay, so GFR means glomerular filtration rate. So that is the rate at which this ultrafiltration will take place. Okay, so it is the amount of plasma ultrafiltrate formed by both kidneys in a unit time. That is, it is taken as a per minute. Okay, so or in some simple word you can tell that the GFR means the rate at which plasma will be filtered through the glomerular membrane per minute. That is the GFR, and this term is very important to understand. So now this glomerular filtration, understanding in detail of this filtration, it includes the review of certain steps, certain subtopics here. Okay. So we have to discuss this filtration under this basic subheadings. The one is we have to know about the characteristic of the filtration membrane through which the filtration will be seen. Then the composition of the glomerular filtrate. Then the dynamics, that is the determinants of the glomerular filtrate. Then the glomerular filtration rate. Then the filtration fraction. Then the factors affecting the filtration. Okay. Then the measurement of the glomerular filtration. Okay. So we will discuss all these things one by one. Okay. So first and the most important things to learn here, it is the glomerular filtration membrane. That means the membrane through which the plasma will be filtered and the filtrate will be poured into the Bowman's space. Okay. So this membrane includes the three basic layers. One is the capillary endothelial cell layer, second is the basement membrane, okay, and third one, that is the podocyte. So you will better understand this membrane by this figure. Okay. So let's see this figure. So this is the glomerular network. This is the Bowman's capsule. Okay. And here is the Bowman's space. Now the first layer, it is the capillary endothelial cell layer. That means the endothelium of this glomerulus capillary through which the plasma will be filtered initially. Then another one is the podocyte. That is the epithelial cell layer of this Bowman's capsule. Okay. And in between these two, endothelium and this epithelium, that is another thin membrane that is known as a basement membrane. Okay. So these three layers ultimately makes what is called as a glomerular filtration membrane. Okay. So it is the more enlarged portion here. You can see this. Okay. So this is the endothelium. So this is the capillary, glomerular capillary lumen, and these are the endothelial cell. That is the outer covering of this lumen. Okay. So this is the primary layer or a primary layer of this membrane. That is the endothelial cell layer. So these are the endothelial cell, and in between this endothelial cell you can see this space. Okay. So this space that are known as a fenestrations or a fenestra. So these are the large pores through which the plasma can be filtered easily. Okay. And this pore size, it is around 50 to 90 nanometer. Okay. So they are much larger. So most of this substance can filter through these. Okay. But another thing about this endothelial cell layer, it is that they are also negatively charged. Okay. They are having a negative charge. So many of the substance that can negative substance can repel with this. So this is the first layer. Then come to this basement membrane that is present between this podocyte, epithelium and endothelium. So this basement membrane, basically it is a matrix of the collagen and the proteoglycans or the glycoproteins. Okay. So this is very thin membrane, and it is also having a thin pores. So they are not looking, but they are having a pores of size around 6 to 8 nanometer. Okay. And another important thing about this, that it is also having a negatively charged proteins. So this basement membrane is made up of the negatively charged protein. So again, this membrane can also repel with the negative substance. Okay. And third layer of this membrane, it is the podocytes, epithelial cell layer, epithelial cells of this Bowman's capsule. Okay, visceral layer of the Bowman's capsule. So these are the epithelial cell layer, epithelial cell that are known as the podocytes. Okay, so here are the food process of that podocytes. So they will interdigitate. Okay, but still there will be a little space between the food process. So you can see these are the very thin slits that are present here. So that are known as a filtration slit. Okay, through which the substance can be filtered. But again, these slits are also bounded by this diaphragm. You can see this is thin diaphragm. Okay, but this diaphragm also contains a very thin pores through which the substance can be filtered. Okay, so clear. So this is a glomerular filtration membrane. Okay, so again this is the same thing, more enlarged structure. Okay, suppose this is the capillary blood. This is the lumen of the capillary. So these are the endothelial cells. Between these there are large pores around 80 to 100 nanometer, and then the glomerular basement membrane, that is basically made up of the collagens and the glycoproteins, that is a negatively charged. Okay, and then this is the epithelial cell layer containing the epithelial podocytes. Okay, in between which there are thin slits that are known as a filtration slit. Okay, they are again bounded by this diaphragm that is known as a slit diaphragm. So this is the glomerular filtration membrane through which the plasma will be filtered from here to here. Now coming to the characteristic of filtration membrane, where we have to see the certain factors that will determine the permeability of the glomerular filtration membrane. So the substance like water and the 100% dissolved substance to which the membrane is highly permeable, that means they can easily cross the filtration membrane because of their porous nature. Okay. But certain other factors where the membrane will depend, membrane permeability will be selective. Okay. So of which the most important is the pore size, okay, size of the molecules that has to be filtered. So now, as I've told before, that the filtration membrane, as far as the endothelial cell layer is concerned, where the pore size is around 50 to 90 nanometer, but because they are also having a negatively charged, the negative ions will repel. And the basement membrane, where the pore size is as equal to that of the 6 to 8 nanometer. Okay. So considering that filtration membrane in mind, the molecules whose molecular size is less than 4 nanometer, that can be easily filtered through the membrane. Okay. But the molecular size, substance with the molecular size more than 8 nanometer, that are not filtered at all. But the substance size between a 4 to 8 nanometer, okay, that will depend, that will be a selective. Okay. Suppose if that substance are a negatively charged, that means anionic, then they will be not filtered because the membrane being a negatively charged, it will repel with that. But if they are cationics, then they will be easily filtered. Okay, so that we will see. The next one is the shape of the molecule. So it is believed that the molecules who are slender, okay, and thinner, they can be easily filtered than the molecules which are a globular or a spherical. Then third most important, it is the electrical charges on that particular substance. Okay. So the neutral and the cationic particles are more permeable than the anionic particles, because the anionic particles are negatively charged, and as we have discussed, the membrane, especially the endothelial cell layer and the basement membrane, they are negatively charged. So most of this anionic particle, they will repel, and if the size of this anionic particle is more than 4 nanometer, then they will be not filtered. Okay. So comparing, the most permeable are the cationic particles, then the neutral ion, then the anionic particles. Okay. So that's why albumin, that is a plasma protein, being a less in the molecular size, less than 8 nanometer, but being anionic, negatively charged, it will be not filtered because of its repel with the negative charge of the membrane. Now look at this picture showing the effect of electrical charges on the filtration of the particular substance. So as I told, the negatively charged particle will find difficult than the neutral or the cationic charges that you can see from here. So this is showing the molecular size of that particular substance. This is showing the filtration rate. Okay. Now as I told, the particles below 8 or 9 nanometer, they are not going to be filtered irrespective of their charges. Okay. And any particle less than 4 nanometer, that can be easily filtered irrespective of the charges. Okay. But between these two substance, molecular size between 4 to 8 or 9 nanometer, it will depend. Okay. So here, if you can look at this, between the 4 and 8 nanometer, all the cationic particles can be easily filtered. Okay. But the neutral ions, though they will be filtered, but they are quite less permeable comparatively to that of the cationics. And you can see that the anionic particles, okay, above the 4 nanometer size, they are not going to be filtered. Okay. So coming to the composition of the glomerular filtrate, okay, so it contains all the substance like that are present in the plasma, except that they are devoid of the plasma proteins and any protein bound substance. Okay. So the composition is like that of the plasma, except for the absence of a plasma proteins and also the blood cells. Okay. So plasma proteins are not going to be filtered because of their molecular size, and second most important thing, that they are negatively charged. Okay. So the globulin and fibrinogen, they are having a molecular size more than 8 nanometers, so they are not going to be filtered. But the albumin, being a less molecular size, that is around 6 to 7 nanometer, but even there they will be not allowed to filter because they are negatively charged and the membrane will repel with the albumin. So any of the plasma protein, it is not going to be filtered. Okay. So even though plasma proteins are not filtered, but the final urine that is excreted, it contains certain amount of the protein, that is normally it is around less than 100 milligram per day. But that protein found in the urine, it is not the plasma protein, okay, but they are basically the shaded tubular cells, okay, so that are not a plasma protein, okay, so that make it clear. Now the most important thing is the normal GFR, glomerular filtration rate. This is the most important short question from this system. What is the normal GFR? The GFR, again I am repeating, it is the rate at which the plasma will be filtered through the glomerular membrane per unit time or per minute. Okay? So normal GFR in the healthy adult person, it is around 125 ml per minute with the range of 90 to 140 ml per minute. Okay, so please note this 125 ml. इसको go रट डालो 125 ml per minute. This is the normal GFR. Okay, so that is of both the kidneys, combining of both kidneys. Okay, not of a single kidney. Now this GFR is quite lesser in the woman than in the man. Okay, so with keeping in mind this rate, the healthy adult person, okay, combinedly both the kidneys, they filter around 180 liter of the plasma per day through the glomerulus. Okay, but out of 180 liter that is filtered through the membrane and poured into the renal tubules, all of that not going to be excreted as a urine. Okay, but out of that more than 99%, okay, out of 180 liter, more than 99%, that means around 178 or more than that liter, it will be again reabsorbed. Again it will be taken up by the renal epithelial cell and given to the blood. Okay, but only less than 1% will be excreted as a urine. That means even though our kidney filter 180 liter into the nephron per day, but nephrons are excreting only 1 to 2 liter per day in the form of the urine. That means more than 99% of the substance that has been filtered, they will be again taken up and be given back to the blood. So GFR after the age of the 30, it will gradually decline. Now look at the dynamics of the glomerular filtration. So these are the certain forces that will determine the glomerular filtration, okay, and that are known as the Starling's forces. Okay. So according to the Starling forces, GFR, it is equal to Kf, that is the filtration coefficient, okay, into the difference between the PGC, PBS, and the difference between the pi GH or the pi GC rather and pi BS. So here it should be C in place of this S. Okay. So this Kf means the filtration coefficient. Okay, that will depend on the permeability of the filtration membrane. Okay, glomerular membrane state. Okay, then this PGC, that is P stands for the hydrostatic pressure and GC stands for the glomerular capillary. Okay, so this is the hydrostatic pressure of the glomerular capillary. Okay, then this P hydrostatic pressure and BS means the Bowman space, hydrostatic pressure of the Bowman space. This pi stands for the oncotic pressure here. Okay, plasma colloid osmotic pressure or oncotic pressure of the glomerular capillary and the oncotic pressure of the Bowman's space. Okay, so these factors, the Starling's forces that are present across the glomerular capillary and the glomerular Bowman space, this will determine the GFR. Okay, so as far as the normal values are concerned, okay, normal Kf filtration coefficient in the healthy adult person whose kidneys are healthy, it is a 12.5 ml per minute per millimeter of the mercury. Okay, and this hydrostatic pressure across the glomerular capillary, it is 45 millimeter of the mercury. Hydrostatic pressure in the Bowman space, it is less, it is around 10. Okay, oncotic pressure, that will depend on the plasma proteins, it is higher in the glomerular capillary. Okay, but it is 0 in the Bowman space, because in the Bowman space plasma proteins are absent because they are not going to be filtered. Okay, so by this it will get the value of this 125 ml per minute, that is the normal GFR. Okay, so the GFR ultimately it will depend on the various Starling's forces. Okay, so look at this same picture is showing this efferent arterioles, this efferent arterioles. Here are the forces, hydrostatic and the oncotic forces here in the capillary, and the similar type of the forces that are present here. Okay, so that are known as outward force that will favor the filtration, and the inward force that are known as that are opposing the filtration. Okay, so these are outward force and these are the inward force. Okay, so the difference between this outward force and inward force, ultimately it will be a 10 millimeter of the mercury. Okay, so multiplying that difference of a pressure with the filtration coefficient, it will give a 125 ml per minute of the GFR. So now certain factors that are affecting the GFR. Okay, so that we'll discuss briefly. So first and the primary factor is the filtration coefficient. Okay, that is the product of the permeability and the filtration area of the glomerular capillary membrane. So this will depend on the state of the glomerular capillary membrane. Okay, so depending on the thickness of the membrane, depending on the negativity charge, okay, so it will determine the filtration. Okay, then the glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure. Okay, so hydrostatic pressure of the capillary, it is highest, so that is the outward force, it will favor the filtration, so it will increase the GFR. Okay, so larger the capillary hydrostatic pressure, more will be the GFR. Then hydrostatic pressure in the Bowman's space. Okay, so that will oppose the filtration, so more the hydrostatic pressure in the Bowman's space, lesser will be the GFR. Okay. Then glomerular capillary oncotic pressure or the colloid osmotic pressure across the glomerular capillary. Okay, so it is again a force that will oppose the filtration. Okay, because oncotic pressure, it will oppose the filtration, so this, it will depend on the plasma proteins. So higher this oncotic pressure in the glomerular capillary, less will be the GFR. Okay. And then the sympathetic stimulation, as again we have discussed during the renal blood flow, the sympathetic stimulation, it will cause the vasoconstriction mainly of the efferent arterioles. So vasoconstriction of efferent artery, it will decrease the renal blood flow as well as it will decrease the GFR. So then coming to the measurement of the GFR, glomerular filtration rate. So we will not discuss in detail, but just I will give a brief idea about the how to measure GFR. So GFR, it is basically measured by various clearance rate. Okay, clearance of various substances. Okay. So maybe it in vitro substance or it is in vivo substance. Okay, so important substances that are used to measure the GFR are inulin, urea and the creatinine. Okay, so out of this urea and the creatinine, they are in vivo substance that are present within the body, and the depending on the clearance of this, you can determine the GFR. Okay, but the most important, it is the inulin. That is the in vitro, that means you have to inject this chemical from outside and then you have to measure the clearance rate of that inulin, and depending on that you will get the GFR. Okay, so first we have to see the clearance of this substance, and by that we will get the GFR. Okay, so that renal clearance of any substance, it is the volume of a plasma that is cleared of substance in a 1 minute by excretion of the substance in the urine. Okay, so the formula of the clearance, it is a clearance is equal to UV upon a P. U means the urine concentration of that particular substance that you have injected, okay, or of which you are measuring the clearance. Then V means the flow rate of the urine. Okay, and that is be divided by the P. P, it is the concentration of that substance in the plasma. Okay, so by this clearance rate, ultimately you can have idea about the GFR. Okay, then just briefly about the final portion of today's lecture, that is the regulation of the GFR. Okay, how the glomerular filtration rate, it is regulated. So this, the mechanism that are working here, they are almost similar that we have discussed with the regulation of the renal blood flow in the previous lecture, so I will not go in detail about this. Okay, so that includes the nervous mechanism or the neural regulation of the GFR, hormonal regulation and auto-regulation. Okay, all these three mechanisms that are almost similar that we have discussed with the renal blood flow. Okay, so the neural mechanism, the sympathetic system, activation of sympathetic system will cause the vasoconstriction and it will decrease the GFR as well as the renal blood flow. Okay, then the hormonal mechanism, so certain hormones that may be a vasoconstrictor, that may be a vasodilator. If they are a vasoconstrictor, basically of the efferent arterioles, then they are going to decrease the GFR. If they are vasodilators, okay, then they are going to increase the GFR. Okay, then the autoregulatory mechanism that again we have discussed, one is the myogenic mechanism. Okay, so that will cause the vasoconstriction and decrease the GFR. Okay, and the tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism, that will depend on the concentration of a filtrate within the renal tubules. Certain other factors that can regulate the GFR important are the protein intake, okay, dietary intake of the protein, and second is the blood glucose level. So both this increase in the protein intake, Okay, and increase in the blood sugar level, both are going to increase the GFR. So this is all for today's topic. Thank you very much and have a nice day.